Hello, everyone. We're sitting here at the European Championships in Serbia, and I'm sitting here with my friend Ian Edwards, the current longbow world champion and European champion. And yeah, we'll just talk some longbow.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for inviting me on. And at the moment, you're sitting in first place. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very
So
much.
cool. Really pleased for you. Genuinely am.
Thank you. So I just want to talk with you about like how are you approaching the longbow game? Like when you are setting up your bow or when you are buying a new bow, what are you looking for?
Okay, so longbow is an interesting thing because there's a lot of tradition around longbow on what people like because it was traditionally shot before. But what I'm interested in is a high performance longbow for specifically 3D, which I love to shoot. So with that, I'll be looking for a bow which gives me stability, gives me speed, and works with me personally.
Yeah.
Right, so one bow, someone can shoot one bow well and somebody else shoots another bow well. So it's all about your own feel and what works for you and your body shape and so on. But those are the three things I'm looking for. So I like weight in the bow. I like a particularly heavy bow because I find that nice and stable. I'm 6'3", so I have quite long limbs. So a heavier bow helps me to stabilize it. I like that. Those are the things I go for at the moment. I'm shooting a timber point. I absolutely love timber point. I'm shooting a Medusa timber point for this season, and then I'm going on to a new bow literally in 2 weeks' time, which is a bow which is built again by Timber Point, which is specifically built for 3D. So it's a fast, stable bow. The bow which I'm shooting at the moment isn't slow, but it's not a fast bow. So those are the things I look for. Interestingly as well, these are custom-made bows, right? But one of these bows can last you for easily 10 years. They really can. So there's something beautiful about commissioning a craftsman to build a bow specifically for you, which then you'll keep, 5-10 years. And when you put the cost of one of these bows out across 5-10 years, yeah, it's quite expensive. They're 1,000 something euros, yeah. But in comparison to other sports, this is not so expensive. And you use them all the time if it's your number one sport. So that's the direction I would always go in. I'd always look to buy a custom-made bow from a craftsman. One, because why wouldn't you want that craft-made bow? Something unique, beautiful to you. You then get to choose the build of it, the look of it, the woods which are used in it. All of that's so great. Also, you're given a craftsman work. That's another special thing, right? Machine-made, mass-produced. I'm not interested. For me, the reason why I shoot a longbow is I want it to have soul. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that about longbows. I love the fact that we shoot wooden arrows. The fucking things punish us. Right? They don't fly very straight, but they're again, they become our craft in building them. I build my own wooden arrows, and I know you build your wooden arrows, and that's then our own craft to do. That's another great thing, that you get your hands on creating the arrow, creating the characteristics of that arrow, the weight, the proportions, and how then it flies. Then you shoot your own arrow. All of that, and you're developing your own skills as a craftsman.
Yeah, that's actually something very interesting on that. There's a saying I have been told for years when I started, I think I heard it 10 years ago or something. And I just want to hear your opinion on it. My coach, when I started, told me a good longbow archer will not necessarily shoot a good bow, but he will always shoot a good arrow. He will always know his arrow recipe, why he's shooting that arrow.
Yeah.
And it will always be about the arrow. So you will.
Yeah, very very important. The arrow is the arrow is vital.
Yeah.
But it's a relationship.
Yeah.
It truly is a relationship between the arrow and the bow and the arrow. If you're shooting the wrong bow to the wrong arrow, in other words, they don't tune together, and so on and so forth. So it's a whole recipe, and one doesn't live without the other.
Yeah.
But I understand what he was saying, because you can have the best bow in the world and you don't have a good arrow.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't hit what you're looking at.
Like I did last year. Like you went up to me after we shot the World Championship. We shot the qualifiers, and I was in 5th place, I think. And you literally came up to me and said, like, mate, you shot really, really well, but all respect, your arrows are shit. And that year I was shooting 32-inch arrows.
Yep.
Very heavy, big feathers.
Yep.
And my draw length is not long. I only draw to 27 inches. And you told me, get a short, light arrow, short feathers, just go for speed, basically.
I sent you 6 arrows.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
I sent you 6 arrows so you could copy the formula. And that's something which I say to anybody on the podcast, is I'm really happy to help anybody. Me and Klaes, we have conversations backwards and forwards. Anything he wants to know, there's nothing off bounds. Literally, I sent him my arrows. I wanted him to get this really good timber point bow. I even spoke with Yako on his behalf to say, I think this guy should have this bow. You know, it's because so good for him. I want him to do well. And I want everybody to do well. And it's a slightly strange thing because we are competitors. But my joy is to compete. And then I have another joy, and that is to help others to be the best version of themselves. It's just who I am. It's just the way I'm wired. That I find fulfilling to help others, right? I just do. And you ring me up all sorts of different times about different stuff, or message me and go, I'm not feeling so good about this. What's happening here? And we then go, okay, give me 5 minutes. I'll give you a call. We'll have a look at it together.
Yeah.
And I genuinely am happy. So if anybody else also wants to message me on social media, cool, they can. And I won't ignore you. I'll come back, and if I can help, I will. But that's why I was saying your arrows weren't good.
Yeah.
Because I could see how we could improve your game. Also, we got your anchor higher.
Yeah.
We changed that, got your anchor higher so that there was a cleaner line between the eyes and the target and the arrow, and that's really important. And even if you're shooting instinctively or if you're gap shooting, it doesn't matter. The brain still has to work the gap out. So if you look at it and you've got this huge gap, it's a lot for your brain to work out. Yeah. But if you've got a smaller gap and you've got a clean line and you can see down through where you're shooting, it makes it a lot easier for yourself to do the calculation of gap shooting or as you do instinctively shooting.
Yeah, gap instinctive. I'm not sure what to call it. But I definitely go for something like a 30 to 35 meter point on. My brain lacks that.
Yep, that's it. And keep running the same as well.
Yeah.
And then it becomes intuitive.
Exactly. So when you are out shooting like at a competition or like at a club or something like that, and you see relatively new longbow archers, maybe they've been shooting for like 1 to 3 or 5 or maybe even 10 years, what mistakes do you most often see them making with their gear?
Okay, gear, it will always be their arrow. They'll end up with, as you did, they'll start off with a long arrow, they'll start off with a heavy arrow, thinking that the heavy arrow will give them more stability, but the problem is with that, with the unknown distance of 3D, their arrow is dropping out of the sky fast. But there's not one formula which fits all, but generally their arrow won't be tuned anyway to their bow very well. That would be the first issue. And, you know, depending on their bow, like there's a certain age group were overbowed.
Yeah.
Right? They can't control the bow they have, so then therefore they can't get into correct form because they just don't have the strength to shoot that bow, and then they adapt their form to the poundage of their bow. And then that takes us on to then they start snap shooting, trying to shoot quickly. And then we get into the whole world of shot control. Yeah. And most people have target panic in one form or another, and they've learned to get around that target panic by drive-by shooting or quickly shooting. Yeah,
just letting the go string too fast, like snap shooting and all that.
Yeah,
exactly.
And how have you managed to overcome that?
I basically took Joe Turner's course. Right. I had 4 years of really bad target panic where when I went for anchor, I would black out, smack myself in the face, and I would first notice the arrow like when it was almost in the target. And I had done like horrible things like shoot arrows through windows and stuff like that, just like try to like dry practicing. And then I got Jules' course, and just built up from there. Like I got a lot of help from like Alex Melnick too, and Tom Clancy Senior. And the last year has been focusing like with you, you talking about my mindset, gear, and all that. And just building on in that way, basically.
Brilliant. Yeah, and that's the thing. You've got to learn about this stuff. One, you've got to learn it. Then you've got to actually start practicing it, and then build the skills of putting the whole package together.
Yeah.
3D, distance judging, having the right equipment, being able to have the right bow for yourself, getting all of that sorted. And then being able to run if you're running a sear. A sear basically is like a trigger, and then that commands when you shoot the bow. We won't go into that now. I think that's a podcast for itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're the main things.
There could be another question too. Sorry about that. We've just interrupted. But there's another thing. Like now, I've just asked you about like if you see beginners and what mistakes they make with their gear. There's something I have always been thinking about, and this is not to like brag or anything, but I've been told like I got good pretty fast, and I thought if like do you see longbow archers as having a tendency to make excuses with their gear, like longbows aren't meant to be precision tools and stuff like that?
No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it can be a get out of jail card, because everyone goes, oh well, it's a longbow and it's a wooden arrow.
Yeah.
So what do you expect? But like for me in the gold medal final, I beat everybody.
Yeah.
Except for Oliver, and he only beat me by 1 point.
Yeah.
And he shot a bare bow with carbon arrows, literally looking down the thing, and he could only beat me by 1 point. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Well, if he ain't better.
Yeah. Right. It's yeah. So I think it all comes down to your mental approach to it, your willingness to keep learning and keep crafting away.
Yeah.
At the small areas and refining. And I think really the longbow is the best bow class by a long way, because it's the true bow.
Yeah.
In comparison to the others, they're manufactured bows and so on. It's such a shame that people would want to shoot such a bow, but they do. And but to be able to make your own wooden arrows, shoot it through a handcrafted bow, all of that, I think it's an amazing class. And then in there, you get to study how to truly shoot a bow. It comes down to you. And like you mentioned Robin, amazing. Robin shoots great scores, beautiful form, shoots the bow well. He has the same formula as us, a short arrow.
Yeah.
And the reason why we shoot a short arrow, just to explain that to everybody, is because the shorter the arrow is, the quicker the wooden arrow will recover, because it's not carbon. Carbon recovers very, very quickly. But if you give yourself a longer length of wood, it means it will recover a lot slower than a shorter arrow. So what we're doing, when we say a short arrow, we're basically determined by our draw lengths.
Yeah.
And we want our arrow to come back and almost be level with our riser. So I have mine sticking out about 1 centimeter in front of my riser.
Yeah.
And why don't I come back any further? I don't think it's safe to come back further, if you ever have a mistake. But that's what's determining how long our arrows are. Purely 1 centimeter just in front of the riser. So that's not even the whole of the metal part of the point.
No.
Basically it's half the point.
Yeah, just sticking out in front of the riser.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that is what I've found too, like with what you have taught me and everything. Going back to like you talked about like this being like the whole, like the complete archer.
Yes.
We actually saw a really good example of that this year, Christoph.
Right, yeah.
Who
amazing.
lost his bow.
Yeah, lost his bow. Had to borrow a bow from somebody else. Wasn't a particularly great bow. It was a fairly cheap bow. Got that bow. Then he borrowed arrows from somebody else. Then he borrowed a tab, I think from somebody else, because he shoots split finger.
Yeah.
And then he shot incredible scores. He broke 400 on day 2, shooting all this equipment, which was really alien to him. But that was because the archer had developed really good fundamental skills over the years. He's developed mind control. He knows all about state of mind. He's really clear about where he needs to be to access his full potential. This is a guy with a lot of experience. He's also been through target panic. He has a good understanding of that, and he has a very, very good understanding as well of distance judging. So with that full package, even though you give him, some random bow,
Yeah.
he shoots an incredibly good score on day 2. It's 2 days of shooting the bow.
Yeah, and he's seeded like what, 8th or something like that.
Seeded 8th, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And day 2, I think he came in with 3rd highest score.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's great. Well done him. But again, it's because he's got all the fundamentals in place, which then starts to show you that it's more the Indian than it is the bow.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is about it. You don't have anything more you want to say?
I could talk all night.
Yeah, we could.
We could talk all night. But no, I think
Then we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, it gives the basic information.
Awesome.
Other than that, like I say, reach out to me if you want any more information. Really happy to share, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Cheers.